Something has gone seriously wrong between Amy Mitchell and Craig Ingram. What was supposed to be a simple drink has turned into one of the most uncomfortable developments in Amy's storyline, and the latest EastEnders episode has left viewers with a huge question. Because Amy was already vulnerable. She was heartbroken after Denzel neglected her, worried about everything happening at home, and desperate for someone to actually understand what she was going through. And Craig knew all of that. Yet instead of walking away, he agreed to meet Amy for a drink. Then things took a shocking turn. Amy asked for a single drink. Craig ordered a double. He kept the drinks coming. Amy became increasingly emotional, and by the time they left, she was clearly drunk. But that's not even the biggest twist.
In a private moment, Craig told Amy that he cared about her. Amy asked him if he really did. And moments later, they kissed. So why did Craig allow the situation to reach this point? What does this mean for Amy's future? And with Craig already knowing Amy's biggest secret, could this shocking kiss lead to something far more dangerous? Let's get into exactly what happened. Amy was already feeling lost. Before Amy even met Craig, she was already dealing with a huge amount of pressure. Her family life has been turned upside down, and she's struggling to cope with everything happening around Denise. At the same time, Amy is carrying the secret of what happened to Joel. That's a lot for anyone to deal with, but Amy is also desperate to prove that she isn't a little kid anymore. She doesn't want people making decisions for her. She doesn't want everyone telling her what is best. She wants to feel independent. And that becomes particularly important after things go wrong with Denzel. Amy had hoped that the two of them might be able to repair their relationship.
But Denzel ultimately backs away. And for Amy, that rejection hurts. Instead of feeling supported, she feels as though she's being pushed aside yet again. That's when Craig becomes the person who seems willing to listen, and Amy starts putting her trust in him. Craig initially has doubts. Interestingly, Craig doesn't immediately rush into the plans. When he sees Amy the next morning, he checks how she's doing. He knows she's got a lot going on. He even suggests that perhaps they should forget about meeting for a drink. On the surface, it sounds like Craig is trying to do the sensible thing. But Amy refuses. She insists she still wants to go. She wants the distraction, and she wants to spend time with someone who she believes actually understands her. Eventually, Craig agrees, but then comes an uncomfortable moment. Amy's worried about whether she looks old enough, and Craig tells her to wear something that makes her look older.
That might seem like a small comment, but it becomes much more significant once the evening begins, because Craig knows Amy is underage, and yet the two still go ahead with their plans. Amy arrives at Container Junction. Later, Amy arrives at Container Junction. She's dressed up and clearly wants to look older. When Craig arrives, she asks him whether she looks okay. He reassures her. Amy seems determined to enjoy herself, but underneath all of that confidence, she's still hurting. She's been rejected by Denzel, she's worried about her family, and she's carrying feelings that she doesn't know how to deal with. Craig offers to get the drinks. Amy asks for a single gin and soda, but Craig doesn't order what she requested. Instead, he orders a double. And that becomes the first major warning sign of the evening.
Amy opens up to Craig. As they drink, Amy starts talking about what is really going on inside her head. She explains how Denise's illness is affecting her. She talks about feeling like a pathetic little kid. And she even connects those feelings to the pain she experienced when her mum died. It's clear that Amy isn't simply having a casual night out. She's using Craig as someone to talk to, someone who she believes won't judge her. Craig tells her that she's not pathetic, and Amy seems to take comfort from that. For perhaps the first time in a while, she feels as though somebody is actually listening. But this is also where the relationship starts becoming more complicated. Because Craig isn't simply comforting Amy, he's also drinking with her. And instead of slowing things down, another drink is ordered. Denzel is still on Amy's mind. Amy also talks about Denzel. She's frustrated that he treats her like a child. Craig agrees that Denzel hasn't exactly been acting maturely. He tells Amy not to let Denzel get into her head, and once again, Amy feels supported. But there is something important happening here. Amy is becoming increasingly dependent on Craig's reassurance. She came into the evening feeling rejected. Now Craig is telling her that she's worth listening to. He's telling her that her feelings matter. And with every drink, her emotional walls start coming down. The night takes a dangerous turn. Eventually, the alcohol starts taking its toll. Amy becomes visibly drunk. When she gets up, she struggles to stand properly and even stumbles. At this point, the situation should surely be brought to an end. Amy is under 18, she's clearly intoxicated, and Craig knows that she's vulnerable. But instead, the two move somewhere more private, and that's when the conversation becomes even more personal.
Amy apologizes for being emotional. Craig tells her that she doesn't need to apologize. He says he's there for her. Those words clearly mean a lot to Amy. She spent so much time feeling unwanted and ignored. Now she has someone telling her that they care, and Amy needs to know whether Craig actually means it, so she asks him, "Do you care about me?" Craig doesn't simply change the subject. Instead, he suggests that Amy already knows the answer, and that is the moment when the entire situation changes. The shocking kiss. Amy thanks him. The two share a moment, and then they kiss. It's a shocking ending to an already uncomfortable night, because the kiss isn't happening in isolation. It's happening after Amy has been drinking. It's happening after Amy has opened up about her emotional struggles. And it's happening despite Craig knowing that Amy is underage. That's why this moment could have much bigger consequences. What started as Amy looking for somebody to talk to has now become a secret that both of them have to deal with. And Craig already knows something else that could make this situation even more explosive. He knows Amy's secret about Joel. Craig is holding Amy's secret. Remember, Amy confessed to Craig that she was responsible for attacking Joel. Craig promised to keep quiet. That means there's already a huge secret connecting these two characters.
That's why the next stage of this storyline could be even more dramatic than the kiss itself. Is this only the beginning? The biggest question now is whether Amy and Craig will try to forget what happened. Amy might wake up and regret the entire evening. She might convince herself that the kiss was simply a mistake. But there's also another possibility. She could start thinking that Craig genuinely has feelings for her. After being rejected by Denzel, that attention could become incredibly important to her. And if Amy starts wanting more from Craig, things could become very difficult. Craig will then have to decide whether he finally puts a stop to the situation, or whether he allows it to continue. And if Amy starts wanting more from Craig, things could become very difficult. Craig will then have to decide whether he finally puts a stop to the situation, or whether he allows it to continue.